I'm a little bit torn. I was going to forgo the initial character introduction phase. Oh, can I get everyone to post their, because we don't have the live updating sheets, can I get everyone to post their character PDFs into Discord so I can read your things, please? But I also know that this is sort of a game of self-discovery, and who you are may be slightly not fixed, especially as in Mummy it's not uncommon for who you are to change pretty rapidly between stories as your memory frays. What do we think? Do people want to give an introduction to who they expect their character to be, or do we want to plough on?
I'm fine finding out along the way, to be honest.
Yeah, same.
Okay.
I like Sophie. Just ultimate Karen.
Oh, I threw mine in the other Discord.
It's always one.
Do you want to do mine again, just because mine is not going to be, mine's still not fully ready because I switched up my character concept.
I still would like you to wing it to me, Ollie, so that I can have your name and like any skills you do have. Otherwise, I'm just blind shotting it. When I give you rolls, I look at the skills you do have to make sure I'm not asking you to roll bullshit dice pools without good reason. I don't just pick at random.
Okay.
Hey, I'll finish mine up by the next session.
Well, mine's not going to have a name right now, but so I call myself.
Bob.
Cool people Eric. Don't have names. Oh shit, we're supposed to post in the Wednesday one or in the.
It really doesn't matter.
Okay.
I'll put an updated one anyway at the end of the game.
By the way, Katya, since you brought it up with Nikki the other day, I actually named my character after Plague.
Nice. I mean, I'm not sure I brought it up, but
one of you did.
Nikki did say that was you, so I mean, I guess she was right.
Yeah, it was
I made that reference
for some reason.
I hear so much.
Okay, never mind. I'm putting it in now.
I am never forgetting that reference. It is pretty spot on. It's very descriptive.
I hate this goddamn bullshit. Okay.
Old man struggles with technology.
It's fucking because I was trying to rename it from the quick access menu, and Windows is like, why do you want to easily rename something in the quick access menu, you dick?
Reasonable response.
It's exactly what Mr. Microsoft sounds like. I listen to all his podcasts. Okay, that means that
Our newest feature we've developed is to make it deliberately hard to rename things in the quick access menu to fuck Ollie Thurston.
I mean, to be fair.
Why is the font on your sheet so tiny, Ollie? You're in like size 6.
I don't know.
What have you done?
Help!
I had to zoom in to... What am I at? I'm at 286% so that I can make out what you...
It's okay, Ollie. Don't let anyone tell you that size doesn't matter.
It's not you. It's not the size of the character sheet. It's what you do with it.
The character sheet is also
where you put the dots.
On purpose.
So, all 5 of you were in your mortal lives slaves in the nameless empire. The first, greatest, and as far as you were concerned at the time, only empire the world would ever truly know. A dark, chthonic place, of strange eldritch sorceries, of impossibly ancient and immortal necromantic lords. Yes, you were slaves, Katya, but almost everyone was slaves. The free peoples of the Nameless Empire were the Shaniatu, of whom there were, like, I think 36. So, consider yourselves to have been middle class or even upper class slaves.
A hip thing to be.
Slaves with notions.
Slaves with extra steps.
I mean, isn't that just capitalism?
It's more like you were the slaves who were engaged in repressing and controlling the other slaves.
We were slaves who had slaves who went to the market for us.
Fuck
we
those
were
other
the house
slaves.
slaves instead of the field slaves.
Well, one step above that. As several of you may remember, you chose to be slaves who were involved with spying for the secret police.
Oh yeah.
Some of the rest of you were craftsmen. Or folk, I guess? Craftspeople. You were, in short, the upper crust of slave society. Not quite as high up as the slave elevated to the position of sacrificial pharaoh, a thoroughly titular ruler for the empire, but not that far from the top. For your loyal, and in each and every case exemplary service, as the empire careened through eras of necromantic advancement and magical science, you were rewarded, so to speak, with the ultimate gift that could be bestowed upon property like yourselves. A lifetime of eternal slavery. Indeed, more than a lifetime, infinite lifetimes. As you were gifted with the magic of the right of return. The single most powerful spell ever wrought in the history of mankind, before or since, bar none. A colossal, decades-spanning ritual that saw each of you bestowed with untold powers, not to mention brutally murdered, and sent down as immortal sacrifices and slaves for the gods of the underworld itself and all of existence, the judges of Duat, the judges of death. Let's actually do get a speedy mortal life snapshot. First off, we have, in her mortal life, Anakh Sun-Amun. What guild did you belong to, and what did you do as a slave in ancient Irem, the city of pillars?
This is where everyone tries to remember
So-
their names.
I was an information gatherer as a slave. I was one of those ones who went out and got whatever was needed at the time, whether it was information on the people, whether it was information on another specific person, whether it was information on the crown, whether it was information on a place. It was my duty to try and get as much information as possible on that. I was the kind of person who blended into the background. I could blend in pretty much anywhere, just never as the center of attention, just someone in the background that nobody ever noticed, kind of thing. And that was my function.
A spy. And in the distant modern societies that we all now live in, someone who would probably be regarded as something of a traitor to those around them. But as far as you were concerned, you occupied a natural and lofty station supporting the rightful order of the universe. Next up,
Good boy.
Khamerernebty. Katia, who were you in your mortal life? What guild did you belong to, and what did you do?
I was a scribe, and both for record keeping and communications, writing letters, transcribing documents, keeping grain tallies, anything that required education and writing, essentially. But my real passion was, writing smut to share with fellow romance enthusiasts throughout the land.
Fair. Next up, and you'll all take note of the name she has chosen for her Eternal Karen character concept. Khamerernebty. Ms. Sophie, who were you in your mortal life? To what guild did you belong, and what did you do?
I belong to Shesa Hebsu, and I ran a... I don't want to say pyramid, because that kind of leans into the wrong message, but a triangular building-shaped organization, of which I was the head of course, and we sold perfumes, fine perfumes. They definitely weren't cheap shit that we had lying around and just sold on and got people trapped in forever. Yeah. And I have been through a lot to get where I am today as a young, independent businesswoman. Me and my fellow Huns are widely respected, of course. And you should definitely sign up today.
I see. Next up.
I believe you're looking for the term reverse funnel scheme?
Yeah. Reverse funnel. I didn't want to use the pyramids because, of course, that's disrespectful to the pharaoh.
The pyramids themselves are already in a bit of a dodgy position from your perspective, so none of you are necessarily familiar with them. Irem didn't really build them, they were more into pillars and obelisks, but your religion was chthonic in nature. So, for Irem, power and divinity lived under the earth. The sun was this irrelevant weird ball of fire who gives a shit. You were powered by your immortal god sorcerers, and they worshipped the underworld and the life below.
For
Pillars
sure, but would
stretch
pyramids still exist?
No, not yet. I don't believe so.
Okay, in that case, fuck the pillars.
Yeah.
Pyramids.
Pillars didn't stretch.
Of like pyramid shape.
You did, yes, but they weren't sacred to you. Pillars didn't stretch up towards the sky, they were spines stabbing down into the earth. And when you awake, you're going to be slightly surprised to find out that people have flipped the importance and now they're worshipping the weird fireball instead of, the gods of death and the other nameless gods.
People are not with the times, honestly.
Well, we are out of time. So
No. We are the time. They are wrong.
Mummy is more or less the Skinner meme given form in many ways.
Alright, I'll have a chat with that son.
Next up, Adiris, played by one Mr. John.
I was a researcher, gatherer of knowledge, for recording posterity and to spread the light of truth throughout civilizations. I don't remember what guild I was with. I don't remember a lot, honestly. All I know is that I must seek out knowledge and punish those who spread lies and false knowledge.
That's fair. Just hurriedly preparing my other stuff in the background. And finally, the currently nameless mummy known only as the Director. You clearly don't remember that much about your mortal life, at least at the moment. But a lot of this is going to be fuzzy for a lot of people anyway. Are there any shreds of your personality or mortal existence that you think you can recall right now?
I believe I used to be some sort of tinkerer or creator. I don't quite remember. Something to do... I think I was some sort of teacher as well. I bought people... I was a corrector of people. I remember that much. My way was always the right way, and I would always show them this, and they always agreed. And when they didn't, well, that never happened. I don't remember much. It's all a bit fuzzy. Sure, more will come to me in time. But I haven't... I know I know I'm seeking out a large group of people. I don't know why. I don't know when.
And that's all you seem to remember for the moment. I've also put a link to the storyteller's screen in the Discord, which should have some cheat sheet stuff on it that's useful. Though it's not the best cheat sheet that I've ever seen, honestly.
Yay, cheat sheet.
So, the 5 of you lived your mortal lives, died your mortal deaths, and as part of the rite of return, your souls were sent down, 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 through the assorted hells of Duat, stalked by unearthly fiends, flayed alive by scorching sands, stung by thousands upon thousands of ethereal scorpions, confronted by the nameless jackal himself. Which I'm pretty sure is Ampu. Let me just double check that. Yes.
Just getting some water.
And when you reached the underworld, confronted each and every one of the judges of death themselves, all 42 in turn, who tested you, probed you, tortured you with questions and traps, logical inconsistencies about even the smallest of sins, as well as the grandest. Bit by bit, layer by layer, and strip by strip, your souls were flayed and flensed down to their rawest, corest selves. And when you reached that point, all of you successfully spat in the face of ultimate defeat and issued your decree. The truest part of yourself, screeched out in defiance at the depths of the underworld itself. Those who failed to find a decree, we don't think about. With that act, you became the Arisen mummies, and sank into a deathless, dreamless slumber. Oh, actually, no, it's not a deathless, dreamless slumber. No, you had the joy of 1,500 years or so, if I remember correctly, in the underworld, in which
sick.
You were tortured and pressed and harried by your new gods, and basically had to run that gamut of undeathly tests over and over and over again. Forever. Oh well, for 1,500 years.
I imagine that probably feels like forever when you're being tortured every day.
Oh, for sure. But you're locked into the cycle now, and you can't stop. Locked into Hennet.
Hit me, goddaddy.
It is not a pleasant experience for even the kinkiest person.
But what if that is my kink?
They deliberately make it not. Like, that can be your kink, they'll find ways for it to be unkinky.
Now I'm sad.
Several of the judges of death have kink shaming as an explicit remit. Yeah, this is their thing.
That's why they're the judges of death, because they know how to do that.
Leave it to the judges of death to ruin the underworld.
Yeah, they more or less do. For a millennium and a half, you are tortured, battered, and berated by these
excuse me.
Until an integral part of this cosmos-spanning magical rite reaches its apogee, the star Sirius, to which you are all indelibly bound, marking the start of a new Sothic turn, the orbit of Sirius. And though this is unbeknownst to all of you, at least initially, as Sirius rises, so too does every single mummy kept underground in the underworld by the right of return. Not necessarily all at once exactly, but over hours, days, weeks, and even months. Several thousand arisen, awaken in the former territory of the Nameless Empire. Because whilst you've been slumbering, the Empire has disappeared, wiped from the face of the earth. Nameless Irem, the only imperial institution the world was ever supposed to know, all those terrifying magics, where even a horrifying MLM scheme can be incredible necromantic archaeotech. Gone. Dust in the sands. And in their place, the survivors have built up again after the apocalypse, forgetting Irem and its triumphs and tragedies.
I mean, the problem is, if you're a nameless city, people are going to forget you. I assume it's nameless because...
It was a nameless city because, as far as they were concerned, there were no other true cities, exactly. So, its name would have been the city. Irem is a euphemism. And in the territory around the necropolis of Abju, it's Upper Egypt, right? Yeah, it looks like Upper Egypt. 5 related mummies begin to awaken. Can I get a D5 from somebody?
Yes. Damn it, Ollie beat me to it.
First to awaken, a corpse-like spectre. Well, in fact, an actual corpse. Your Sahu, your physical vessel. A withered, decayed, mummified body. The director. Yes, Ollie did roll himself.
Well done, mate.
No problem.
Someone's got their alarm clock set.
You guys need to get better spiritual alarm clocks and just
I'm tired.
I like sleep.
The director awakens. How social are we feeling, Ollie?
pretty social, actually.
The director... Sorry?
There's one desire he knows inherently is that he must either find his cult or start a cult. Yeah. And that requires being somewhat sociable.
So, as Sothis waxes in the heavens above, second, the inalienable energy of life itself begins to course up from the underworld and through your Sahu. Your body begins to twitch as the warmth rushes outwards from where your heart would have been, stretching along withered blood vessels through your chest and out into your arms, down into your broken, crippled legs. Bones crack together, flesh swells with vitality and blood from nowhere, and withered eyes begin to open. You have no memory of anything other than a vague sense of... Actually, in your instance, not even your name. You're the director, as far as you're concerned. You only remember your old job title. You have a vague sense of the memory of Irem, a burning knowledge of the judges of Duat, and really not much else other than a compulsion to serve their will somehow, yet you're unsure quite how. You are in a strange alien temple. There are frescoes on the walls that you recognize some aspects of, but which seem strange and blasphemous in nature, with a prominent sun and what looks like the nameless falcon, the weakest of all of Irem's gods, being paid heed by what is unmistakably a pharaoh, the most important slave in Irem's society. Around you, stunned human figures in long priestly robes stagger backwards. Shocked, confused, awe in their eyes. You are just about barely human, Director. And I do emphasize the barely. How are we feeling? What are we doing?
So I assume I'm sitting upright right now?
You are currently not, but you can bolt upright stiffly if you like.
Yeah, bolt upright stiffly, hands gripping the sides of whatever vessel I've been placed into. Do I bump? Oh no, the priest can see me, so clearly I'm not uncovered. So clearly I'm covered.
Your awareness begins to expand outwards to encompass the situation. You are on a sort of slab raised up off the ground. You are uncovered, though your eyes are just beginning to pop back into your skull from non-existence.
In a lipless rasp as the sound ejects from my throat, I turn to the nearest priest, and in the only language I'm currently aware of, I rasp out a question of, do I even have any awareness that time has passed? Actually, no, I would do. I'm looking at my dead body right now, and they're like, clearly I've been dead for some time. I don't know how long, and I'm going to ask, when am I?
Fair. So you rasp out the question in perfectly legible or perfectly grokkable Ironite. There's no real response except stunned silence from the priests, and then one in the back begins running. You are confronted with a bevy of blasphemy. Everywhere you look in the temple, everything is wrong, every god is glorified incorrectly, everything around you is painful.
It's a sensory nightmare, both spiritually and physically.
It is. There is a rising sense of anger and bile in your throat as your stomach begins to fill back up with acid.
Just for it to immediately eject again. I see how it is. Fucking resurrections, man. Not even once.
You're not technically resurrecting. You're not alive. You're hopped up on life juice.
Meth juice.
It's the main way of that shit.
It's not dissimilar in some ways to how Vitae works in VTM, except it's about 1 million times more potent, and rather than being like a physical substance in the same way, it's more of a like ley line energy thing. Apart from when it is a physical substance, but that's less common.
Hang on, wait. Vitae replaces all your bodily fluids. Where does that leave us on...
Second does not replace your bodily fluids, but it does give them back to you in full. You also don't need to do Blush of Health with Second, because it's pure life juice.
So you can still fuck, is what
you
the question
absolutely
is.
can and do fuck.
Yeah. Marvellous. There you go, Catcher.
I'm not going to throw up on someone when I attempt it.
I think it's more avoiding a murderous rage at this point, Ollie, is the situation you're in, basically.
Yeah, I'm not the strongest of characters, so I mean, I can try gripping the stonework around me, but I don't think it's going to do much. I'm controlling my rage.
I'm probably going to ask for a roll on controlling your rage, I think. Let me have a look. Because... what is your rationale for controlling your rage?
Sorry, that more came out as just a... I'm fine, actually, just not controlling my rage. Actually, no, sorry, I'll take that back. Yeah, I will, because I want to get answers, and beating people up and deathing them...
That's completely fine and expected in your society, for the record.
Yeah, well, in the sense that if I kill them, I can't get answers out of them.
That's also not true in the society you come from, for the record.
I suppose, yeah. Okay, then. I'm really got justification, and if I can kill them and still get answers, then I can kill them and still get answers. Therefore, I'll auto-fail the roll.
Cool, okay. Right, now, you don't, strictly speaking, get access to... do you have your affinities set up?
I have some of my affinities, but not all of them yet.
Okay. Do you have your pillar points anywhere?
My Ba, I got set up with 3, and then I hadn't decided which of the next 2 I wanted to put elsewhere. But
okay, you know what? Hang about. Let's have a look in. Where's the second section of the cheat sheet? Sorry, I hope everyone's okay with this being just a little bit.
You
Go for it. We're all learning.
Yeah, because I'm trying to. Okay, what's your? Oh, you're just arisen, so your second is going to be 10 right now. So spending 1 pillar point will get you a bonus of 4.
So a bonus 4. Does that mean
you
what? I
spend 1 temporary pillar point
okay.
of bar, and that would allow you to raise an attribute by 4 points per temporary pillar point spent.
Cool.
So
okay.
whilst you have a strength of 1, you could spend 1 temporary pillar point to immediately bring that up to strength 5, and you could spend 2 to bring that up to strength 8. Your trait maximum at second 10 is 10, so you can have up to 10 in every trait or every skill or attribute.
Cool.
That does come down as the life energy runs out.
Am I aware that this?
You can spend pillar points instinctively. They're an aspect of your soul.
How do I get them back? Are they easy enough to get back? Are they like long rest?
Depends. Let me see. So recovering pillars, affirming a decree. So that's the 2 signature methods from the decree thing. And then you can also... Did you take any dots in... Oh, we haven't done your tomb stuff yet, have we?
No cult.
Cult is less important than tomb at this point, honestly, because we'll kind of build the cult as we go. So meditation is really the main thing. Which you can do once per chapter, and there's like 3 chapters-ish in this campaign.
I'm not going to spend a temporary pillar point then. That seems like that would cause lots of issues for me later down the line.
I mean, this might also cause issues for you. Let me have a descent roll check. Because the judges are potentially going to be upset with you.
If I don't kill people.
Oh, yeah, they're not really fast about killing people. They don't like people killing other people, except when they do. But so this is a super blasphemous temple as far as they're concerned.
Okay, so I should get angry. Okay, I can see the irrationale, I suppose. I will...
So I'm just looking to see if I can find the bloody thing. Scree! Where is the fucking descent roll stuff? Why would you not put this in the cheat sheet? God damn it, on its path.
You're gonna love massively complicated character systems with 4 different types of hit points and willpower points by the looks of it. 4 different types of willpower points by the looks of it.
I don't think it's 4 different types of willpower points. It's more like they have multiple types of vitae, honestly.
I'm being, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm exaggerating.
Hyperbolic?
Huh?
Hyperbolic.
Hyperbolic.
Hyperbolic as well, yes.
Hyperbolic time chamber.
Parabolic.
Okay, yeah, so if an Arisen does one of the following, they face a descent roll immediately. So, blasphemes the gods of Irem, or lets someone else do so in her presence uncorrected, creates a lasting account of her deeds that gives glory to her alone, destroys a relic to cannibalize its second, so sucks the life juice out of something, fucks up dramatically using their life juice, buffs their memory, does a secret plot spoiler thing, mocks or otherwise decries her judge, especially by name, profanes the tomb of a fellow Arisen, if that Arisen also serves the same judge, which I think we have 2 of you who do serve the same, verbally professes, this is a very specific one, verbally professes her highest love to another, be it a mortal or supernatural being, who's not serving the judges, using the language of Irem. And finally, telling her own true name to any outsider. But that as far as I'm concerned, that's your true name in the metaphysical sense. So, yeah.
Yeah, okay. What does descent do? I assume you, it's like a road or a path rating style thingy.
Which was the descent one you were asking about there?
Oh, just like...
sorry, descent roll. So descent is when your second goes down. So, you know your life juice stat?
Yeah.
You've just arisen, so it's currently at 10, which is the maximum, and it goes down slowly over time as you like use it for things, or fuck up, or do too well, or etc., etc. And one of the things that will make it be more likely to go down is if you don't uphold the weird old standards of your, at this point, already like 1500 plus year dead society.
I will spend a temporary pillar point from my bar, which is never not going to feel weird to say. And, I will boost my strength to 5, and I'm going to yeet part of my, well, maybe the stone lid that's around, or some parts of the stone I'm attached to, towards the most blasphemous-looking iconography I can see.
Okay. That is a suitable response. Who's your judge again?
My judge is the Right Honourable Aaron Abfu. The one about, like, don't let humans have too much scientific process. And I'm like, don't worry, I'm the one who's letting them have scientific progress. I'm taking it all from them.
That's not what he does, but okay.
That's exactly what it says in the
He's committing crimes against the cosmos itself.
I mean, that's the orthodox version.
It says in the book.
So it depends on what you've... Okay, so it depends on the scientific progress being made. A new type of shovel is not a crime against the cosmos, but, like, colonizing Mars might be.
Shovel.
All I'm saying is that in the book, it just says, he doesn't like when humans are too advanced. When they have ideas about their scientific progress above their station.
Yeah.
Just... Yeah.
Okay.
I'm also going to be trying to control that shit as well. I'm going.
That's entirely fair, Ollie. You're playing a conservative, traditionalist mummy who doesn't understand what the kids are about or why they keep inventing things without his permission, and thinks it's, if anything, at least a little bit rude. And it is with that in mind that our dear director for the Red vs. Blue fans in our non-existent audience. Thank you, Sophie. Gives me a roll of... I'm going to call that strength brawl. Strength athletics, please.
Strength athletics.
There's also ticks beneath the bar for your...
Yeah,
I didn't know if you'd seen them or not.
So that is... So 5, 6, 60, 10. What is it?
As you bolt upright on your slab. And, filled with righteous indignation, the director... Okay, cool, so the success system in New World of Darkness. I don't set you a difficulty. We set you, like, a number of successes threshold, if I remember correctly. Everything that's, I think, 8 or above is a success. So that will be 2 successes as I make it. I think it's 8 or above.
Isn't the standard usually 7 for World of Darkness stuff?
I think it's 7. I think the Cyan one was where they went 8 and up. The successes and 10s count twice. I think.
Wait, what?
Chronicles of Darkness was just 7, 8, 10 success.
7,
Pretty
8.
sure.
So, wait, it's kind of hard to get successes then?
It is, yes.
Wow.
The reason they made the change is that in the other system, it's more intuitive to the human brain, but mathematically it means that you actually generally work out as being worse at actions a lot of the time the larger your dice pool is, which is counterintuitive. So the averages don't work out very well if you actually maths it out. This one...
Do ones still count as critical fails then?
Yes, I believe so. Oh no, so this, ones only cause a botch if there's no successes. Which, to be fair, is the rule in Old World of Darkness as well. But because of the way successes work in this, it's probably more important we try and stick to that this time. So,
okay.
Ones are only a critical fail if you have no other successes.
Alright.
10s aren't a critical success in New World of Darkness, but it does have a load of, like, number again rules, where it's, so if you have, like, 9 again as a rule on a roll, that it means any 9 or 10 you roll that dice again, and can keep rolling them as long as you keep getting 9s or 10s.
Sorry, because I rolled a 10. Was it 9s only?
It's only if you have a special rule for it, which I don't think you do here. It's just beating a pillar at someone. That's it. That's 2 successes, which... no, 3. Fuck it. Yeah, we'll say 7. I can't be asked to look it up. So that's actually 4 successes. As
I looked it up, and it's 8, 9, 10 is a success.
Oh, it is 8, 9, 10.
Yeah.
Cool, okay, sorry. So that's 2 successes in that case. As the director lurches up from his slab and... so that's your heart. The strength of his soul flowing through him robotically twists to the side, rips a loosely placed pillar out of its position in the wall, and hurls it at the nearest fresco. Can I get a D12, please, Katia?
D12.
Yep. Cool. 9 priests, if priests they can be said to be, run screaming out from the room. 3 fall to their knees in shock and horror. The chaos at Abju has begun.
Oh, Lord.
Next up, can I get 2 D4s, please, from somebody?
Ollie?
2d4s, yeah? 5. I mean, you did say somebody, but I seem
okay. Yeah, no, that's fine. Thank you, Ollie. So, how social are we feeling, Sophie and Katia?
Pretty social.
Yeah, pretty social.
I'm feeling hot to drop in my new leyline blood essence.
As the Sechem surges through the two of you, the both of you wake up almost simultaneously.
Yeah, nice to be full of Sechem and not torture, but you know.
Lured out of your long hennet, your torture in the underworld. Limbs crackle to life, blood flushes through your veins. An illusion of life weaves itself over the reality of your corpse. Your eyes crack open. Vitreous humour pulsing from nothingness. Vitreous humour pulsing from nothingness. Swelling out over your face before retreating and solidifying into actual eyeballs.
So can we see?
You can indeed see. And the first thing you see... Khamerernebty. God damn that second. Khamerernebty is Khamerernebty. The first thing you see, Khamerernebty, is Khamerernebty, as the two of you have been placed up in fine reposed positions on pillars, facing each other, surrounded by ego worshippers, all of whom seem lost in a throng of discussion and praise. But their language is wrong to your ears, alien, the odd words somewhat understandable, but most of it is just garbled nonsense. And behind the mummy in front of you, you likewise see strange, blasphemous frescoes, gods in the wrong positions, and they appear to be named, also blasphemous. Adulation of the sun, and the nameless falcon placed above all, worshipped by a pharaoh clearly not garbed in the scorpion banner of lost iron. How are we feeling?
Excuse me, what is it? Who's in charge here?
She barks in Usar.
This is all wrong. This is all wrong. Who has put these up on the wall? You can't have these up here. Excuse me!
The worshippers collapse about themselves, falling backwards, scrabbling backwards as the corpse, the sacred being they were worshipping, sand flowing out of its mouth, begins lecturing them in crackling ancient aramite. Its name only just coming back to it, little glimpses of its mortal life slowly flowing back into its memory, but its desire to see the manager knows no bounds. You get no response, Khamerernebty.
What do they seem to be doing?
They were worshipping you, which is also dodgy. And now they're like scrabbling backwards in terror from both of you as they see your bodies begin to take on an all too human aspect. Oh wait, no, you're at second 10, so your bodies are taking on a somewhat human aspect, but they mostly look like mobilized walking corpses. Imagine a raisin sprouted arms and legs.
Oh, finally. It's your character from the last game.
Whoa.
Now you were way too tall.
I can't argue that either.
Yeah, can I move?
You can absolutely move.
Yeah, I want to hop down and continue barking at them, being like, who's these gods? This is all wrong. I absolutely need to speak with whoever's in charge here because this is just terrible.
Do you even know who these gods are?
No, but they're not what I recognize.
I mean, I'm asking them, not you. You know the shit, Falcon.
Yeah, shit, Falcon.
I mean, it's still a god, but it is the Z tier god.
Shit tier god.
The Aquaman of the divine...
I have been tortured by proper gods for centuries. These are rubbish.
The tortured memories also beginning to flow out of your skull as second flows in. You have a vague sense that you've been somewhere discomforting, somewhere horrible. Was it that bad? But your brain barely your own.
Can't have been that bad.
The mortals beneath you fall back as you hop down from your pillar and advance towards them, followed shortly afterwards by Khamerernebty. The Nebties on the prowl, both of them advancing towards their horde of mortal worshippers, getting zero answers, the anger beginning to rise in your bellies as well.
The worst cougars.
Literally. Or the best cougars. Can anybody here answer one of us, please?
You get no response, save terrified jabbering in some strange nonsense language.
I'm not in the same room as them, right?
You are not. Yeah, you're in a different room.
Yeah, I was...
Go for it, Catcher.
No. I was going to say I was a bit confused from the same, but I guess that didn't add anything.
Yeah, you're both starting to get quite angry with this situation. You have just been dredged back up from the depths of hell. Your brains are being sort of sieved of the bad memories by the evil gods that control you, who you totally fear and worship, to get you to come back down at the correct time. And on top of that, these people have been just blaspheming the shit out of you and your entire way of life, and you don't know where you are, and no one's answering your questions, and they keep running away whilst you try to talk to them.
So, quick question.
Yes.
If we were semi-blasphemous in life and that somehow landed us here, we're basically being, life used into giving a fuck at this point, right?
You probably wouldn't have been blasphemous in any meaningful sense in life, really.
Okay.
Or at least in that, hypocritical way, where you may do the blasphemous activity, but you still consider yourself to be a pious follower of XYZ, or you were doing it for good reasons, or under special license, or etc., all the little exemptions people make for themselves whilst judging others.
Alright.
Irish society was nothing if not contradictory.
I am gonna go fucking rearrange the gods to make this make sense while looking for my hippo friend.
You would acquire a hippo friend, basically, so you don't get that.
Yeah, I'll acquire. Yeah. Okay.
That can just be more like a need to go and acquire a hippo then, right?
Yeah, for the record, that thing is actually, you can select a hippo for it, but also, it is not a hippo in every lifetime, it is an animal in every lifetime, which could be a hippo every time, but you can change it between descents.
You really got to stop visiting zoos in 1930s New York, because that's going to cause chaos.
Yeah, exactly. Not that they could stop it once you had empowered it. If you give a hippo the power of bulletproof, then really it's New York City now. No, they're bullet resistant now. As a mummy, they could the animal sidekick gets mummy damage resistance, which means it can take a decent rocket launcher to the face and come out pretty okay.
It's a terrifying concept.
Exactly. Just to clarify what I mean by bulletproof.
Yeah, okay, rocket proof. We're talking a tank.
Mummies only take aggravated damage naturally from fire and a handful of supernatural things. And even then, they usually get Clash of Wills is a thing in New World of Darkness, and that usually uses Second for mummies, which means that a super juiced mummy will generally beat the shit out of anything trying to curse it.
Right. Either way, I'm gonna erase the names of all the gods and forget I ever said anything about the hippo, because I guess I'll...
It's cool. How are you erasing them?
Tipex.
Yeah.
Do not have Tipex.
Says you.
Yes, says me, the GM, you do not have Tipex.
Damn, fair point.
It is the 24th century BCE. Tipex has not been invented yet. Historically appropriate equivalent at the moment is a chisel.
Yeah, do I have a chisel?
You can probably find a chisel.
Alright, I'm gonna go unname all the gods.
Or indeed, use your hands. You can punch through stone.
Let's just start ungodding the gods, I say.
Yeah, I'm gonna ungod the gods.
I call them deity. I call them deity. Why don't you love me?
Well, if you're going to come at me with these American pronunciations, I'm going to judge you.
You just love me though for my puns. You know, one day you will.
Can I see who has the biggest hat in the room?
Oh, we're going for this strategy, are we?
Valid strategy.
Sorry, I was doing Katya's thing real quick.
Apologies.
So, Katya, what are we doing then? It sounds like you were going to go punch things.
Yeah, I'll go punch things.
That's strength athletics. Would you like to spend one or more pillar points?
Sure.
They have temporary boxes beneath, like willpower, for the record.
Okay, what happens when I spend one?
So you can spend them for a variety of things. You basically pick one of the effects. Let's have a look at the spending pillar points thing. Spending pillar points, so you can raise all your physical attributes by a number of dots determined by your current second rating, which at the moment you get 4 points and you can raise them up to 10, which means you could spend 2 temporary pillar points to immediately boost all of your physical stats to 10 for the duration of the scene. And then there's a bunch of other stuff to do with like healing, utterances, activating vessels.
Don't care, you're just gonna boost my stat and start smashing things.
Okay, how many pillar points are you spending? 1 or 2?
1.
Cool, that takes all of your physical attributes up by +4 at your current second.
Yep.
Which means you have a strength of 6. Immediately superhuman. That's some fucking blood buff bullshit right there. Strength athletic, please.
It's oh god, I'm a nerd. Right.
A little anxiety attack there.
Yeah, that's 1. God.
1 success. So it's not so much one god, it's that as you look around, there are a lot of carvings in this room, and you don't actually read the local language yet, which means you're kind of guessing a little bit which are the names by positioning. What was your guild in life again, sorry?
Sesha Hepsu, I think.
Sesha Hepsu. Cool, so fortunately for you, you were a lawmaster, and therefore have some idea of, well, where would they probably put the names? Looks like that one. So you're more dealing with like dozens and dozens of them, but there are probably hundreds scattered across this room filled with elaborate carvings. And you're just going ham, running around, punching the shit out of these walls, cracking massive, detailed frescoes, destroying everything and anything that might offend your judge, who is Khamerernebty. Meanwhilst, as I recall, it sounded like Khamerernebty had locked eyes with the mortal wearing the largest hat. And unfortunately for them, this is the ancient Egyptian priesthood, and one of the mortals is wearing a very large hat. He's actually managed to stay mostly on his feet, but he is physically trembling Khamerernebty, as your eyeless skull looks at him. Eyeless and yet with eyes. It's a whole... You have a physical body, but also you have like an illusory self, and the illusory self is kind of physical apart from when it's not.
I poke him in the chest, and I demand to know what is happening.
Call me odds or evens.
Even.
No odds.
He collapses to the ground, collapses to his knees, terror filling his eyes, and begins muttering what almost sounds vaguely recognizable. Is that... It's thickly accented, but you fancy that that is indeed the language of Irem. My lady, we are not worthy. I cannot bear to look at your visage.
Of course you're not worthy. Why would you be worthy? You're wearing a very silly hat.
He immediately knocks his hat off.
Good, much better. Now who's in charge? Is it you?
You, my lady, are in charge.
No, you just
I mean, of course I'm in charge. But who's in charge of you peasants?
The head priest.
Are you the head priest?
No, I am...
Go get the head priest!
He tries and fails to get up off his knees, overcome by your sheer pulsing presence. Yeah, alright, that's brilliant. Let's roll on this one, shall we?
Did you meow aggressively at him, Sophie?
No, she said now.
Oh, now.
She didn't just go, meow! And expect him to interpret what she meant.
She could be feeling particularly catty. I don't know.
Cool. I will take... What's a good intimidation roll? Oh, intimidation.
Intimidation.
I'll take presence intimidation, please, Sufalof, and I will give you a +1 dice pool for the situation. I think I can do that. I give or subtract dice from your pool rather than the difficulty number.
It's rolling a d10, right?
Yeah, it's that number of d10s. So your dice pool +1 d10s.
I mean, you're the DM. You can kind of do what you like.
Yeah, I'm trying to. A lot of the rules in New World of Darkness are a lot more interconnected than the rules in Old World of Darkness, which is a good and a bad thing. It means that they generally make more sense as a whole, but it's more difficult to bin individual aspects that you don't like because they are heavily connected to other things. E.g., I don't really like the social door system in New World of Darkness. They have a social combat thing, but you can't actually easily remove it because it's woven into a lot of powers, which means you need to rewrite a bunch of stuff if you want that to work.
Oh, sorry. It will be, because I have 5 points total, it'll be 5d10.
5 plus I give you a bonus of 1, so net of 6d10.
6d10. Whew. What a day.
That is a single success, as he can't quite bring himself to get to his feet, but does begin shuffling backwards on his knees, muttering apologies in Iremite and halting local babble nonsense language as quickly as he can.
Honestly, the staff here are just awful.
In the background, Khamerernebty roars as she punches another name off the wall. And finally, not too far away, Anakh Sun-Amun and Adiris. The two of you do not awaken worshipped in a temple. No, the two of you awaken in the cold, in the dark of your neighbouring tombs, half filled, and both of you more than half covered with sand. Something has cracked them open, and they've slid towards each other. So whilst they were once separate buildings, not that I guess you would have known that as you were dead when you put in them, they have now adjoined. As elsewhere, the second begins flowing through you. Dead vessels return to a semblance of life. And your eyes twitch, flicker open. Swampy images flowing through them. I'm pretty sure second gives you perfect night vision, so I don't think you, strictly speaking, even need the eyes to see, as technically speaking your corpse bodies don't have them.
Ugh, I hate sand.
He knows what he did. God damn it.
What about the texture of it?
No, I'm going to stop.
How are we doing for you two as you jerkily jolt to life in the dark of your tombs?
Is there anyone around, or is it just...
No, it's just you two. You are locked up together under the sands.
Are we like, so where we've been buried, are they like two buildings that have kind of like collapsed into each other and then been buried under sand?
Yes.
Or is it like a ruin kind of thing that's still on the surface, but like nobody goes there because
two buildings that have collapsed into each other and then been buried under the sands.
Okay. Then in that case, I'm. Is there room for me to get out of the tomb, or is that kind of like covered as well?
You can't see an exit immediately, but you can certainly stand up and sort of dig yourself out of the sand a little bit.
Okay.
I would do the same.
Yeah, then I'm gonna stand up out of my sarcophagus. And I'm gonna start looking into places that are good to dig, like areas that won't like immediately collapse down on me or anything like that.
Is there anything visible in our shared tomb other than sand and wreckage?
There are... let's actually take a look at your sheets real quick. Did anyone here buy any dots in Relic?
So I have Relic, but I was going to buy dots in it, but I didn't get around to it yet. But it would be
I figured if this was our first awakening, I would leave Relic for now.
It is fair. And did either of you guys do your tomb either?
No.
No, the other two in this case.
Oh.
Do as in do it up, or
as in did you take any merits in any points in tomb, basically?
just the one?
I've got a point in geometry and a point in provisions.
Okay, well, in that case, so far, yeah, Nikki, your tomb has... So provisions covers basically anything assorted that you might conceivably need or want that would be added as a grave good. So you've got about a dot's worth of stuff there, if there's anything you particularly want, Nikki. For yourself, what did your point of tomb go into, John?
I didn't put it into anything.
In that case, probably geometry would be the default, so your tomb is bereft.
Sure.
What sort of things would I even have in a tomb?
Grave goods, basically. So you might expect weapons, armor, jewelry, perhaps ritually important tools related to your job.
A dressing gown for when you wake up.
Yeah, ritual clothing of some kind, potentially. And because this would be Iramite stuff at this point, it would also be pretty paying stuff. It's not a relic, so it wouldn't be as overtly magical. It wouldn't have an overtly magical effect, but it might still be magical in appearance.
I didn't take any relics myself, but I don't know whether I get any as part of my guild.
No, you have to
I need to look into that.
You have to take dots in relic or acquire them.
Right, okay. That's fine then. I guess I'd like a good bow and a quiver of arrows.
Absolutely.
As a weapon. And some nice jewelry. I think would be a good start, at least with the provisions. I don't know what else I'd want, but I can probably add a little bit more retroactively.
So you rise from your slab and begin looking around your tomb, looking for weak spots and spots to probe or dig out. But first, come across a bow that you don't actively remember, but which, as you trace your fingers over it, feels familiar to you in some fashion. Urge to make a grassy knoll joke. Vague memories of a rebellious slave's head going back and to the left. As well as, close beyond that, a beautiful turquoise inlaid gorget, forged of gold and brass, that again, as you trace your fingers over it, the Sekhem animating your body, making its textures feel incredibly alive and vividly detailed. Your not quite skin sinking into every pore in the rock, every tiny crack, sparkles with the radiance and glorious craftsmanship of ancient Iram. Ancient Iram, modern Iram that's totally still around. Just not sure why you're in this strange tomb with Squint's other mummy thing. What did you say you were doing, John?
Looking around, investigating where I am, and confusion at the sudden appearance of someone else in what I thought was a solo tomb.
Cool, I will.
Why are you here? Also, nice stuff.
Yeah, it seems like she got to the grave goods before you did. The gorget is already on. The bow and quiver already slung across her shoulder.
Is there any I could use? Didn't think that far ahead.
The other mummy
apparently whoever buried me just didn't care.
Eyes you silently. Simply continues putting on her jewellery.
Alright then.
I'll take intelligence plus investigation for you, please, John.
Sure.
That is one success. As you awkwardly fumble around your tomb,
I'll go for some comfortable clothes if I can find anything.
You don't find any clothes, I'm afraid, so it's just the shrouds you were buried in.
Yeah, that'll do.
You find only solid walls of rock and the occasional puncturing shafts of sand. You do, however, eventually come across a tiny, incredibly slim sliver of light. Moonlight, to be precise. Stretching down through a crack in the ceiling.
Oh, wonderful.
Hidden round a bend in a small alcove.
A way out. I would like to dig my way out.
Okay, let's see if you are also the nerd squad. Adiris has 2 strength. Nerd!
Yep.
How are we fixed for pillars, John?
Did not
that's quite important. You should probably do your pillars.
Yes, I didn't know what to do with them, honestly.
In terms of picking stuff, they're mostly important. How you configure them, other than from a character perspective, is mostly important for your utterances. Starting pillars are, let's see, I didn't pick one, so 6, 8, 9, 10. It's 10 points of starting pillars, I think. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, it seems to be.
Okay.
So we will temporarily assume you have 10 points in non-specific pillars. But I would definitely get those sorted for next time, because that's...
Yeah, I will do.
Yeah.
I've been considerably distracted over the past few weeks.
Would you like to spend 1 or 2 pillar points?
I'll spend 2.
Okay.
Because why not?
2 pillar points at your current second rating of 10 gets you +8 to all your physical attributes, boosting them all up to 10 immediately for the duration of the scene.
That's pretty hype.
All of us are so nerdy, we've immediately woken up and just like, nah, nerd rage. Because we'll look so bad otherwise.
I was expecting at least one person to be able to win an arm wrestle without significant prep beforehand.
Right, you're going to have to spend some of... Is it life juice in this case? Because you've not spent the second, but we have spent something? Like pillar points?
So second is your life juice. Pillar points are... So remember when I said the obelisks, the pillars of Irem, were spines pointing down to the underworld, right?
Yeah.
So the pillars are the metaphorical pillars of your soul. They're the spines that anchor your metaphorical existence. The closest thing in modern fantasy media that I can think of to describe it is anyone a big Tess fan?
Yes.
I mean, I like Skyrim, but I've not really played any of the others.
Fair.
No, I like Oblivion.
I've only done the
okay, so I guess the test would be, if I say the phrase walks like brass, does anyone get what that means?
Nope.
No.
Okay, yeah, cool, never mind. Yeah, so...
Spiritual power points.
Yeah, they're yeah. Think of them as the spiritual compass points of your soul. You've essentially got north, east, south, west, and center. That's not what they do, but that is ish what they're representing. Putting that in a more Mesoamerican metaphorical context. Anywho, the points then represent you spending like energy accumulating around those pillars. And the ranking that you have is the energy that you've got to spare. They do the same thing most of the time. They only really give you different points when you are unleashing utterances. Is the main time that the difference matters from a mechanical perspective. From a character perspective, because they're different aspects of your soul, it says different things about your character if your soul means different, is configured in different ways. Someone with a lot of heart is not quite the same as someone with a lot of name, for instance. Or shadow, I guess. Sorry?
Yeah. I'll just point out to you, and on the arm wrestling thing, I fully expected to have a hippo to do my arm wrestling for me.
Hippo cannot compete in arm wrestling. They do not have, like, fingers. That's not arm wrestling, that's just feeding someone to a hippo arm first.
Exactly.
So, with the pillars, how does it work for, like, giving you better stats? Can you do it every scene?
You can do it every scene until you run out of them. Replenishing them is not actually necessarily that hard, but you can only do it a limited number of times per chapter, basically.
Okay.
That said, it is also generally expected that, especially in your first scene, when you first wake up, you tend to be tossing these things out like candy a little bit, because, like, you're often pissed off if you're awoken in anything less than ideal conditions, and you're barely human. It's the ultimate Monday brain, basically, like, awake, but at what cost, except you're a cranky demigod who conceptualizes suffering as a valid method of teaching and doesn't really value human life. So if it seemed like I was really guiding Ollie towards, like, kill the priest, kill the priest, kill the priest, that's because I'm still trying to get a hold of how I communicate the mindset that you would have at the moment. And Ollie was trying to be, like, a nice person and not immediately murderize everyone around him, which is commendable in many ways, but I guess it's similar to how when we first started doing 40k stuff and I would have trouble, I guess only Ollie would remember this, and I would have trouble, like, getting to guide people for how you should play an admech, because they have a different mindset to how you would imagine a scientist in a setting to have. So that's
we did put the torture pretty quickly and easily, though. That was fine. It was just the admech playing style, which was just difficult.
Yeah. Cool. So that'll be strength athletics, please, John.
With 10 in my strength, right?
Yep. Because you spent 2 pillar points, and at your current second rating, that gets you 4 extra points of physical attributes for the rest of the scene. But fucking hell, that's a lot of dice. That's 1, 2, 3 successes. As you position yourself underneath the crack, and with a brief cracking of your own old, withered, leathery bones, more or less sure you can your way out of the tomb, leaping upwards, punching straight through the solid rock, and into the sands above, which begin pouring down, but you scrabble out faster than they can sink, bringing you out into the nighttime desert sky. In front of you lays a strange, small city, barely a village, with only a few stone temples rising above, set atop the familiar river at the centre of Iramite territory, and surrounded by dingy mud huts like you might have expected the chattel slaves of the Empire to live in. You can also hear a chorus of distant screams carrying over the wind, the Sekhem coursing through your veins, meaning that you can pick out individual voices. Back in the tomb, how were we doing Anakh Sun-Amun?
I mean, I think I've picked up everything that I want to, so, yeah, I'm just gonna follow John out. He's already created a way. Why waste it?
So you do have to scrabble and swim through the sand after him a little bit more dramatically than he did, but he has indeed created a way. You emerge out afterwards, still having not said a word to him. The two of you gaze out over the little town.
I wish to head towards the voices that I hear.
Wordlessly, Adiris begins trekking off. Presumably followed at this point by Anakh Sun-Amun.
Yes.
Meanwhile, in a small temple not too far from here, the director. You've just ripped a stone pillar out of the wall and hucked it
I need
at
the
another
bathroom.
wall.
I'll be right back.
And hucked it at another wall. Most of the priests around you have fled, and I think 3 had fallen to their knees and were worshipping you in blind terror. What do?
I scream, "What are these walls? What are these pictures? Who are you worshipping? Answer me, chattel."
They respond only in strange foreign jabbering. A language you do not understand, save for the occasional glimmer of a word half remembered.
What was, I assumed I had a sense of heady superiority over all foreigners who ever visited the nameless city.
Oh yeah, as far as you were concerned, foreigners only really came in as the lowest class of slaves. There was exactly one other society to ever seriously challenge Irem, and Irem did not treat it well. Their defiance was noted, essentially.
We'll be filing a report with your manager. Well, I'm disgusted at these just dirty foreigners just chatting words at me that I don't understand of their sheer disrespect. I want to pick one up push it up against the wall. I presume my strength is still 5.
For the remainder of the scene.
Am I aware of how decayed my body is? Does it act like a decayed body, or does it act like a like a full fleshy body?
So it's a bit of a weird situation, right? So you have a full fleshy body that people can see and touch and feel most of the time, apart from when you are like actively flushed or flushing with sechem, so with life juice. So you kind of like phase between the two, basically, depending on what you're doing. At the moment, your flesh is decayed and withered, but in a lifeful way, I suppose.
Like someone put a load of makeup on a shriveled bog corpse.
You're basically like just awoken Imhotep. Is your current stage.
That's what I had in my mind.
As your power dies down, you will slowly become like more and more human until you just become fully human looking. But there is still a bit there where when you use your powers, the second and you flares up and you temporarily go corpse face again.
Yeah, cool.
So
okay,
slide off your slab, grab the nearest mortal, and haul them up against a wall, demanding answers. They are utterly unresisting and actually pretty light for you right now.
Do they? Is he still jabbering in an unknown tongue?
It's kind of dying off. He's struggling to talk as he looks you in the face. His eyes alight with fear, the pupils almost seeming to dance from side to side as they try and fail to comprehend what's happening.
I will. So I only know one language right now, right? I think that's also the say.
You only know Iramite.
Yeah. I'm going to put a cold, dead, lifeful finger on his lips, and then start speaking very slowly.
He shuts the fuck up immediately.
I'm gonna speak very slowly, like how those awful English tourists do to everyone. Do you understand me? Rechanneling my inner and outer English tourist here.
I'm gonna give him a shot. He does not.
I take the terrify shaking off the head as a no, and I drop him.
He doesn't even understand that you're asking him a question, so it's not even really a shaking the head. It's.
I think shaking in terror, not shaking.
Oh yeah, shaking in terror. But you'd already shushed him, in fact, so he doesn't say anything. He just stares at you wordlessly.
Mm-hmm. I see that useless, bloody useless. The type of people we're bringing nowadays. Clearly, I'm going for the really awful concern.
You go for it. Channel your inner Sophie, channeling her inner Karen.
Oh, with 2 layers of meta.
Excuse me, conservative. How fucking dare you? Carry on.
I drop the terrified priest and just muttering to myself about the type of help we have nowadays. Wander out of the temple. Actually, no. I proceed to knock off as many of the blasphemous pictures I can see.
You're going to run into the same problem as Katia, which is that there's a shit ton of them. So I'm going to let you roll for it. That'll be a strength plus brawl.
Yep.
Pictured Ollie walking out of his temple.
Strength plus brawl. I'm on strength plus brawl. Oh, 5 strength is 60-10. 60-10. 2 successes.
Yeah.
Can I reroll 9, is it?
Sorry? No, it's only if you have the 9 again special rule, which applies to some rules.
Oh, yes, sorry, you said.
Yeah. I guess we can check the rulebook, see if there's anything you specifically get 9 again on. I don't think.
I return.
Again.
Please tell me you announce yourself like that, like every time you leave the office and then return from going to the toilet.
You mean you don't?
So if you want my pro tip with chocolate cake, put it in the microwave for 10 seconds. So it's a good life rule to live by.
Yeah, no, I don't think you've got it on anything, Ollie. I had a look.
No worries, it's fine. In which case, I guess I get 2 successes. And
you just start punching the wall recklessly. There's so many blasphemous names. Fuck that image. And you're careful not necessarily to, punch the images of the gods themselves. Even misplaced as he is, the Nameless Falcon is still a god. But you certainly punch heavily around it.
I am not... It's your fault if you get in the way of my fist. It's your fault if you get in that sword. He doesn't, but he might have done. I finished doing that, I suppose.
You take care of what you see as the worst offenders.
Mm-hmm. I look at the priests, mutter pathetic under my breath, then leave the temple through the nearest door.
A great set of open screen doors. You emerge into the cool night air.
I take a deep breath in through my nose, and I notice that even that is different.
Feels livelier. You can pick individual scents out on the wind, hear more screams from nearby, as you see opposite the way another much larger temple, and a man I saw that smug smile there, Sophie. On his knees, crawling backwards out of the massive frontal gates.
Wait, someone else has a bigger temple than me and there's screaming coming from it? So, not only am I woken up by foreigners, who just, what the hell? Secondly, there's someone else with a bigger temple than me.
Temples!
Temple envy.
Some people just have temple envy, okay? Happy.
It's entirely merited. Are you still architect? I know you're an architect, but are you still the Architects Guild?
No, I'm the guild of firebrands and revolutionary stuff. The name is Khamerernebty. It's the second one on the list, I think.
Oh, the Shell Keepers, right?
Yeah? I think so.
God, this cheat sheet does not... It is not...
It's not a very good cheat sheet.
It's not the best cheat sheet, certainly.
So, I am part of the Khamerernebty. We are revolutionaries, alchemists, and brokers.
Revolutionaries is perhaps a strong term for them. I know that's what it says in the book, but I think that's more in terms of how the guild will become rather than how it acted.
In any case, they are very much a guild that prides themselves on being perfect and having prides themselves on being perfect. And when they're not, oh yeah, I can go through it. When they're not, and they are clearly disrespectful of a smaller temple. I'm going through temple size envy right now. Is a common affliction. 9 and 10 mummies.
One of the noted mottos I see is everything to the deserving, nothing without effort. And this sure looks like you haven't been getting what you're deserving.
Yeah. And I'm about to put some effort into rectifying that. So I'm going to walk over towards the bigger temple where the screaming's coming from. I had screaming coming from my temple. Logically, if there's screaming coming from another temple, there must be another one of me's there, maybe.
Khamerernebty, you watch the priest shuffle backwards out the temple, muttering to yourself the whole time. Shortly after he exits the doors, there's a squeak. And then, striding in through them, is the animate corpse of another Ironite.
What's the Spy Masters Guild again?
Marquette, I want to say?
Are you guys the secret police, right? The watchdogs, right?
Yeah, secret police is Nikki, so yeah, it's the Marquette.
Yeah.
Okay.
The Marquette. Yeah.
In my head, secret police and Nikki are rapidly becoming, connected. And I don't know what to do with this, association.
So,
Fear me.
I come through the door, and do they have any identifiers that they are part of the Marquette?
Let's see. Well, who was in here? In here, we had Khamerernebty, who's Sesha Hebsu, and Khamerernebty, who's also Seshahepsu.
Oh, Seshahepsu, I thought they were the secret police.
No, these guys are this.
We aren't in a temple.
Yeah, exactly. You've come into Katia and Sophie's place. So the scholars and lawmasters. We'll say they're shrouds. Oh no, they've been moved around. So no, they bear no identifying. I don't think they bear any identifying markings. Let's have a look at their sheets. Actually, I'm not seeing any points in relic or anything. So
No.
And then nothing for.
Okay, so these are both. So they got a bigger temp. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna ask the question.
So Khamerernebty, you've just watched this guy go out, and then another mummy's come in through the door, and in a loud, booming voice, he angrily proclaims,
"Why do you have a bigger temple than I do?" And that's my main question, actually.
Who the hell are you?
Wasn't it obvious?
I asked first.
Really, because we're better than you.
Yeah, because people know who we are. You're some random mummy off the street.
a nearby.
You're some random mummy in a building.
A much bigger building. Who are you? Go away.
I am. I will not dine you with knowing my name.
A nearby priest begins convulsing from sybaritic overload as the presence of all three of you and your pulsating second
I
overwhelms
point
him.
a finger at him and yell at him to shut up. I am trying to be loud and angry and self-righteous right now.
Though he does not understand you, he fully understands the tone and does his best to stay silent. Within seconds, blood froth begins foaming out of his mouth as he bites off the tip of his tongue.
Next time you die, try doing something worthy of a temple.
He's utterly useless.
I have never heard such disrespect before.
Well, I've never heard of somebody who comes in after a slumber demanding why on earth their temple is bigger.
We've never heard of you.
Yeah.
I've never heard of you.
And clearly, if you're in a smaller temple, you are below us. So, how dare you address us in such a manner?
I think there's been a mix-up in the paperwork.
Adiris and Anakh Sun-Amun, you have been proceeding down the dunes towards the riverside town for some time. It's taken you maybe 5-10 minutes. The screams and shouts changing. It's fewer individuals arguing louder now, and hushed whispers seeming to echo out from the town, like the tiny pitter-patter of children's feet, as news of the gods arising spreads throughout the homesteads. The gates are open. There are no bandits. Not this time of year, not in this part of the world. And you simply stride into the main street. The noise brings you, foot after foot, towards one of the larger buildings, perhaps the second or third largest in town. What appears to be a temple. And inside, you hear 3 people arguing vociferously in what you recognize as clear Iramite. Here, it would seem, are the representatives of the Nameless Empire who will know what's going on and why you awoken and why you awoke in the tomb you did.
Nice temple.
How much more destroyed is their tomb compared to how much I left mine in the state? How black are they right now?
Theirs is probably because Katya's devoted, Khamerernebty has devoted most of her session to destroying it, rather than destroying like key things, then moving on. So even though you got more successes, you did like more damage quickly. But Khamerernebty's just been wandering around punching her tomb for quite some time.
Can't fucking win, can I?
And as your argument continues, strolling in behind you come 2 more mummies.
Do I still have my strength bonus?
Yes, we regard the scene to be carrying on. You are still at all physical stats at 10.
Fantastic. Hey, who's defacing shit?
That would be me.
Why?
Heresy.
Have you not seen the false worship happening amongst it?
Yeah.
No, I've just woken up.
doesn't take much looking around for you to realize that their accusations of heresy are thoroughly founded.
Are you saying you didn't wake up in a tomb?
Who fucking cares?
They did.
This is heresy.
They did wake up in tombs. You guys woke up in temples.
Ah, well, yeah. At least I can feel good about that.
I didn't answer you with an answer. I said, who cares?
Well, that's just what someone would say if they woke up in a tomb and not in a temple. I'm just saying.
It's very bitter because his temple was significantly smaller than ours.
Oh, but mine is grander, okay? It's not the size of the temple. It's how wide it is.
Is yours equally defaced like this?
Yes.
All these false heresy?
No, I did
All
mine
this heresy
more,
all over the place?
more vim and bigger than they could. He lied through his teeth.
So it is full of heresy.
Yes.
It appears this entire valley is lousy with it.
We shall have to correct that.
I tried getting this high priest to do something, but all he did was crawl backwards, and this one just started convulsing on the floor, completely useless.
There are now 5 mummies in the room. The guy who'd started convulsing has convulsed his neck to the point that it has more or less snapped.
Thank you,
I
bro.
will finish it for him by hurling him against a wall.
I'm not going to make you roll for that. You have strength 10, and he is a dead or dying human. You're more or less able to kick him up like a hacky sack and just spike him into a wall where he detonates immediately.
Is that considered blasphemy? Or I can't quite remember. My memory is a bit shot right now. Is anyone else feeling that?
Who's your judge, John?
Never.
Never.
The flame.
Have a look. What does Never do?
Flamio, Hotman.
His name is not Flamio Hotman. God damn it.
What do you mean it's not Flamio Hotman?
A judge of Duat. His name is not Flamio Hotman.
That's the Irish.
That's how you greet them.
But is he hot though, Ewan?
His name is the God damn it. Okay, so presides over deceivers and liars. I'm going to say your judge approves of your defense of Iramite virtues and piety. He's not strictly a blasphemy god, but the judges are all pretty anti-blasphemy, at least where it's blaspheming them. And they're not super happy with the locals. So
Pretty sure gods they weren't, I would have thought.
Depends on
I
the
imagine
god.
there's many gods out there who enjoy being blasphemed. Apart from the ones who are there,
Yeah, no, that's fair.
that like CEO energy is like, no one's ever talked to me that way before.
I like the
You're
cut of your
high.
jib, sir.
The custom of blasphemy.
If you catch Zeus on the right day, maybe.
Oh, then he'll fuck me, because he's going to be a swan, isn't he?
If you catch Zeus on most days, he will try and fuck you.
I like
Yeah.
that. The implication is you're going to fuck him because he's a swan. Because, yeah, that's.
No, it's just something that happens. You meet Zeus, he fucks you.
I know. But you said he's going to. It was just the way you worded it. Was
So,
He fucks Zeus.
Real concern is Zeus catching you.
there are 5 mummies in the room, 2 more humans now, convulsing. The raw sechem is a pulsating, writhing storm. Blood and gore covers one of the walls of your combined temple.
Oh, did you say there were 2 more humans?
2 more humans convulsing, yes.
They're going against different walls that are equally
there's-
covered in heresy.
There were like a dozen humans in here, for the record.
I'm painting the walls.
Just grabbing humans whilst they cower in fear and then spiking them into walls.
Is this really necessary, brother?
Yes!
Leaving
Also,
white mess.
sister, thank you.
I've not been keeping track of anyone's genders so far.
To be fair, neither had I. I didn't realise that you were playing a female person.
Completely reasonable. I am playing a female.
Playing a woman of the opposite sex, as Alo would
Oh dear.
Yes.
It's
And
not
I'm
intended
still
to be-
spiking them into the walls.
It's not intended to imply that there's another kind of woman. It's intended to be...
Yeah. I
things.
remember. I actually seen that show.
Yes,
One Piece.
against all odds, Alo received a Swedish dub, and
Yeah.
I don't know why, but
No,
I'm
I
okay
wasn't-
with it.
It wasn't a Swedish dub. It was texted.
Please tell me.
It did genuinely get a Swedish dub, though.
I'm gonna have to track this down.
Yeah, do.
Please tell me the A's have the little umlets above them.
they most definitely will.
100%
They most definitely will not.
It's pronounced umlaut. It is not pronounced omelette.
They will.
Little omelets of us.
I said omelette.
You said omelette.
You said
I didn't
omelette.
say omelette.
You
You
said
absolutely said omelette.
100% said omelette.
Did I say omelette or did I say
Was that
If
that
you
off-screen
didn't say
agreement?
omelette, then you've got a problem with your mic.
I know how to say the word, damn it.
Maybe you do, maybe you don't. All we heard was omelettes.
Well, that is worrying.
Also, it's kind of cute, so I don't think it's a bad thing.
I do cute all the time. That's just me.
So,
But thank you, sir. I appreciate your support.
Yeah, there we go.
Khamerernebty, you've just about lodged his your complaint with Adiris that she's making a bit of a mess when she's finished painting the walls of your temple with human and
Oh,
basking in
that's a bit
the warm glow of her judge's approval of this harsh treatment.
The warm red glow.
Oh, actually, no, I'm going to say, as you kill the last one, Adiris, the warm glow is withdrawn. You've gone overboard. There is not a lesson being taught here now. No one's going to fear this example of the might and power of the judges.
Be your decorating skills.
Yeah, gotta do the lagom murder.
I am satisfied nonetheless.
Where is this?
the heresy?
Where is this head priest?
Well,
think
I
we
don't
broke
know.
him.
We asked somebody with the big hat, and then you marched in, all self-righteous, and I haven't seen him since.
Wasn't he the one who broke?
No,
No.
he
He crawled away.
Yeah, he crawled backwards out of the door under
Ah.
Sylvia's instruction. So,
Yes.
Khamerernebty successfully asked him to go get the manager. And he's
I'm going to turn around and walk out of the freshly redecorated temple.
Where are you going?
I'm going to go find the head priest before this mad one over here kills him.
Wait, who even are you?
I don't. That's not for you to know, and that's for me to find out.
Are you important enough to talk to the high priest?
Yes,
Whoever that
He
may be.
is.
I
I
am.
really don't think he is.
I am absolutely certain I am more than important enough to speak to the head priest.
You don't even know who you are!
Do you?
Yes,
Okay, what's the last thing you remember before waking up?
perfume.
perfume, knives, screaming, selling to friends, family, feeling
Well-
independent at home,
Guess what?
and then the
Networking.
scything of the ritual knife.
I would not say remembering some blasted pointy objects counts as a legitimate memory. You could have just stubbed your toe on something sharp on the way out your coffin and got
It means-
mixed up.
She was someone important enough to stab.
None of you
And
awoke
You say
in-
the same.
None of you awoke in coffins, and all of you remember the sting of the ritual knife. As at your current memory rating, which I think is technically 1, even though you wake up at 1 at this point, even though you would otherwise wake up with 3. All of you would remember your last descent. This is all of you your first descent, which means the last thing you're really remembering at the last moments of your mortal life, which is a lot of chanting, depopulated streets, and the sting of the knife that killed you. So you can quibble over who is and isn't important enough to get ritually murdered, but by definition, all of you were important enough to get ritually murdered, because all of you were, in fact, ritually murdered.
That's more important.
But two of us had a guy with a funny hat in our temple.
Exactly. Where's your funny hat, man?
He
Hmm.
could have just been on patrol. We don't know.
Well,
These
go
are
get
clearly-
our funny hat, man!
These are clearly foreigners who don't know what they're talking about and don't know what they're doing, and we need to go sort this out.
Yes, we do. Go get the funny hat, man.
I am finding the funny hat man, and you may come with me. I will allow it. I am not taking you to him.
Will you allow it?
Well, to us.
I do. Thank you for confirming. And then
That's
I
not
stride
how you
out the
speak to your
temple.
superior, honestly.
I stride out the temple, looking for the man with the funny hat who I passed. Who was, I think, prostrating himself.
He was, and crawling backwards. He's no longer wearing the funny hat. He knocked it off when Khamerernebty insulted it.
So I suppose I actually don't know what this man looks like, but he was bowing. So, maybe he's still there and bowing. Is he still there? Can I see him?
Yeah, he's not actually made that much progress, as he's completely unable to compel himself off the floor.
You, small grovelling man.
He stops in the middle of the street where he is.
Ah, wonderful, you understand me, finally.
He does not deign to respond to that, as he was not asked a direct question. He simply cowers where he is.
Stop cowering is distracting. Are you the head priest?
He shakes his head coweringly.
I just said you should. Where is he? Take me to him. And don't prostrate yourself there, or I will prostrate you here.
So his grasp of Iremic is actually not great, and whilst that is not necessarily the worst one-liner to deliver, the subtleties of what you're suggesting are thoroughly lost on him, as he really does not understand what the word for prostate meant in that context. But he does get that it's a threat. Okay, I'm gonna have him roll willpower. What's all willpowers? Let's have a look.
Poor man's going to get his prostate destroyed and he won't even know why.
Stop breaking all the humans. We need one of them to give us answers.
It's just an empty threat.
Technically speaking, as one of you actually took amanuensis? Amanuensis? No, look, what is this shit? Yeah, one of you actually took amanuensis for an affinity, so you don't really need more than one of them to give you answers anyway. This is the only guy who speaks Iremic, which 4 of you, it's the only language you speak at the moment. But for the one of you with an appropriate affinity, who instinctively understands all mortal languages, would not suffer from this issue. She just hasn't had opportunity to hear anyone speaking anything but Iremic, partially because first people she met who didn't speak Iremic were spiked into a variety of walls.
They needed to redecorate. There was blasphemy.
Admittedly, they were like frothing and going mad from spiritual overload at the time.
Weird. How many of our number 1 sessions end with someone ending up splattered against a wall?
Look, violence
Not that many, to be fair.
Violence is the universal language.
It's more the fact it's happened more than once.
Violence is the answer. I don't care about the question.
We are clearly
Violence is the question, and the answer is yes.
We're a well-adjusted group of mummies.
I love these fresh, early 2000s I Can Has Cheeseburger demotivational posters answers we're getting here tonight.
Old school.
You know what? As our party is convened and we've done a little bit of experimenting with the rules, it's about 20 past. I think that's probably a good spot to leave it for the week.
Sounds good to me.
Do we have any reminders for next session?
Big Hat Man, he's gliding away, and Rude Man has started talking to him.
Fair.
Rude Man, who did not introduce himself.
We don't need to know who I am. And then maybe because I've forgotten that information as well, but you don't need to know that. Go up.
Tiny fucking temple, mate.
Wait. Not about the
temple.
pie. It's about the
It's puny.
It's about the worship that goes on in it.
The temple was a
What?
lot nicer
Heresy?
like 20 to 30 minutes ago before it was covered in the viscera of its worshippers and with its walls smashed down. That said,
Yes,
it
but
is,
now there's no blasphemy.
it is way less blasphemous now, yeah, that's true. It was nicer, but heresy, and that's not okay.
Knights of the Heresy is definitely a line I've heard a lot across many of our games.
Any other reminders for next session?
We're getting the head priest from the...
That was Sophie's reminder.
Oh, was it? Okay, I wasn't listening.
Yeah.
I've got that reminder then. Oh, I have a nicer temple. It's smaller but nicer temple.
Find out who the weirdos who wandered into our tomb is, maybe?
Yeah, find out who these weirdos whose tomb I wandered into it is.
None of you... Well, so you two didn't awaken a tomb, but you awoke in a temple.
Okay, temple. I mean,
Okay, find out who these weirdos whose temple I wandered into is.
I feel like our presence kind of makes it a tomb.
You were dead in it.
Exactly. Like, it may be their temple, but it is our tomb.
I mean, that's a fair attitude to take. In character. I mean, just out of character. It was temple first, tomb second. That said, in character, you're the mummy, and you can You call dibs if you want to.
Was the blasphemy on the wall just live, laugh, love?
No, because Karen wouldn't have destroyed that.
I didn't destroy it!
I love the idea you would go through it. It's like, this is where the smiles are made. Just, no.
I can just imagine. I can just imagine your temple covered in like those little boards that just, have little flowers and hearts and seashells on them made out of recyclable materials, all just saying "live, laugh, love" in really fancy letters.
strongly implies that 21st century Khamerernebty's cult would just straight up be an MLM scheme.
Oh, it is.
Any other reminders for next session?
Just that I have my bow and arrow, I think, and my jewelry.
Fair.
I need to find a hippo to arm wrestle for me.
Actually, I'm gonna
catch his priorities. Wake up, find a hippo. Where's my hippo?
I'm gonna put it in.
Cool. Any other reminders?
I'm fucking lousy with hippos. I'm sure we'll find one.
No. Okay.
I'll walk down the back alley about a hippo giving you an arm wrestle.
In that case, feedback, anything you liked, anything you disliked, anything you'd like to see more or less of next time, and also thoughts on how we're doing with the system so far. I know it is a little bit complex, and as mentioned, I struggle to simplify it because you can't take bits of it in isolation as well as many other systems. So I apologize if it's a little bit complex at the moment, but it feels like we're starting to grok it slightly.
We'll get the hang of it.
Your descriptions of the places and the people so far, it's been really nice.
I'm glad. I'll try and get them a little bit more atmospheric as we go along. My inner childhood years wasted playing Pharaoh over and over again.
Oh man!
It wasn't wasted if 20 years later you get to run this game for us.
Pharaoh was so good, though. No time spent playing that game is wasted.
I'm deeply aware of the fact that as a child I was never really good enough to get to the later stages of the campaign. I've still never played to the point the Romans get in, and that's just the starting levels of the expansion. Anywho, waiting for the HD remake to come out. But no, thank you, Sophie. I'm glad that was okay. I felt it was a bit of a shaky start for me in some areas, so I'm glad it was all right, and I will try and hone it a bit more going forward as well.
Yeah, it was good.
Mm-hmm.
I think breaking us out into small mini scenarios and sort of having that be our first taste of the world, so to speak, was really good.
Yeah, I like that.
Feeling at the world and the characters that way. I do, however, think I would sort of have liked a mini session 0 to talk about the world and the system again when we had such a long span between Shargen and session 1. Because a lot of the stuff we talked about in session 0 is completely gone from me now. I realize that comes from busy weeks of work and being in a tiny house in the north of Sweden and my mind completely not being in it as well, but I would have liked some form of reboot brain. Here's the world, here's the system.
That's fair. So that is partially why I was poking people repeatedly in advance for make sure you got your characters ready. But I think you are perhaps still correct that we could have used a little bit of lead-in. I guess I was slightly conscious of the fact that we'd done 2-ish Chargens already. So I wanted to move on a little bit. But I think you are right. I think I underestimated slightly. That said, it feels like the old VTM muscles are kicking in some spots.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I looked it up. Ones do not detract successes, but if you ever have a dice pool of 0 or lower, you still get to roll 1 die. A 10 succeeds, at 1 is a catastrophic failure.
Oh yeah, that's the fucking system. Yeah, no, that's fair. And there are various things that add and subtract from your dice pool. Yep. Thank you, that's refreshing things a little bit. I'm still trying to grok the New World of Darkness systems. They're familiar yet alien.
Same for me, honestly.
I was really excited that we got one person using the 2 pillar points as well. It's lovely seeing Nerd try and go, fuck it, I'm gonna just immediately ratchet myself up to max strength. The point at which you're allowed to roll to, like, fling tanks into the sky.
I feel like, I don't know if you guys have ever heard the song, Nerd Rage by, your favorite Martian.
A blast from the past.
I feel like that's an appropriate song.
What's been with the fucking early 2000s internet humor tonight?
Why
Bring
not?
it back, old school.
Oh dear. Ceiling rise watching you spend pillar points.
It has been so long. God, I completely forgot your favourite Martian. That's
Yeah.
Ray William Johnson's.
Yes, yeah, it is.
Yeah, fuck me, that is a blast in the past. Yeah, I skipped ahead for 1 minute. I was like, oh, I remember that Avatar.
Yep.
I think this was in the era of only paying attention to Swedish memes.
That's fair. Any other feedback?
We call them Sweems.
Oh man, you have no idea.
I just want to agree with starting us in the little groups. I thought that was a nice little touch.
Yeah.
I'm glad that was okay. I realised after I did Ollie's solo, I was going, fuck, we're not going to have enough time to do everyone individually. And then after I'd given people their individual things, like, okay, I don't want to... I can't... someone has to wake up alone, otherwise we're not going to have time to get everyone together again. And also, after I'd split everyone up, I was going, fuck, man, I've got to get people together again, otherwise we're going to have to spend 2 sessions gathering the party before venturing forth. It's going to get very Baldur's Gate bullshit.
Lots of screaming close to each other often fixes that problem.
Yeah, I will say I think it's fortunate, as a group we've been playing together for quite a while at this stage, and so everyone more or less knows when the fucking shepherd's crook is coming out from off stage and gently herding them into the same room so that the plot can advance in some fashion, and was more or less going along with it, so I appreciate that.
Well, I feel like Nikki and I following the same judge, it made a lot of sense that we were in a similar area.
Yeah.
Honestly, I thought it was well-paced and worked well. No complaints. So it was really good.
Did we have the 2 people with the same judge and the 2 people in the same guild wake up? Because we dice rolled for all that shit, so that was entirely random.
Well, then RNGesus clearly figured out what you were trying to do and decided to help.
I think you'll find that it's Sutek in this context. Sutek is helping you out.
Same god, different name.
Yeah.
Yes, somewhat. Iramites would probably argue Jesus is more a version of Sutek than the inverse.
I'm not talking about Jesus. I'm just talking about any god of luck and fortune.
Sutek is more the god of not being a dick. He's the, non-dickish 43rd judge, and where the reason the others are the judges of death is because Sutek is the judge of life. It's a whole weird, complex, metaphysical thing, and the spines that are the columns are spines reaching into his spine. I'm not going to get into the metaphysics of it, but Sutek is a nice guy. Mook isn't a dick. Needless to say, he suffers gruesomely.
Or Sutek.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a bit of a Chad, though. He does, single-handedly arrange for the universe. Cool. Questions? Anything anyone was narratively unsure of in that session?
Nope. Seemed pretty good to me.
Nope.
I mean, session answer would be yes, but now no.
Fair. Yeah, I think you're going to have a really interesting question to come up, that's going to arise next session of where the fuck is the nameless empire that's supposed to be here? Shouldn't you have attendants? Don't you have Shaniatu strange, immortal, not quite human necromancers to serve? What's going on?
Well, I mean, that's the thing, right? At the moment, we've literally just woken up and going, what? Give me some fucking coffee or something.
Oh,
and
yeah.
then we'll get to the main stuff in the next session.
I think it's a little bit funnier with you two, because Adiris and Anakh Sun-Amun, you just kind of assumed something went wrong with your tomb, was my reading, and then you wandered into town, and the first people you ran into were other Iramites who were already having an argument, and a load of weird blasphemers. And so you're kind of waiting for these people to clue you in, assuming that they know more than you do.
Pretty much. I have no idea that they've only just awoken as well. They're just arguing over who's got the cooler tomb while I'm busy repainting it and getting rid of the heresy.
Exactly, right? Which is like, well, obviously they wouldn't be arguing about this if they didn't have a handle on the situation. What kind of psychotic would be too busy arguing about the size of the blasphemous temple they woke up in when their entire civilization has disappeared?
Yeah, right. We don't know
Very,
that
very
yet.
self-centered mummy.
Yeah, we're just getting ready to go out for brunch. That's
Nah.
Yeah, you guys have woken up and going, breakfast, brunch, yeah? I've woken up and gone, existential crisis?
look.
Where's everyone I used to know? What the fuck has happened to my world?
Okay, so I just got a scroll.
I've woken up and gone,
I've
coffee.
just gone down Reddit, and the first thing I see is that today I learned that there are around 50 to 60 blue faience hippopotamus statues that survived from ancient Egypt. Due to the danger hippos posed in the wild, they often snapped off the legs of hippopotamus statues before placing them in tombs, so the hippos wouldn't be able to eat the souls of the deceased.
Also things like if they used a hieroglyph in text for its phonetic meaning rather than anything else, but it was like a dangerous animal or something, they generally crippled the hieroglyph because there was this general idea that hieroglyphs could come alive. So if it was like you had a scary lion on the wall, you would not want that lion to have 4 legs because it will just jump off the wall and fuck you up. So you
I like the idea that they're terrified of lions, but they're totally fine with a crocodile-headed woman who is on all fours.
She thought.
And the Devourer, they're not totally fine with her. And especially in this context, Amut the Devourer is the, cosmic evil. And even in mythology...
in the context of people are scared of painting hieroglyphs for lions because they may come alive. They're fine with hieroglyphs of
Amut isn't an animal, though. Amut is the cosmic embodiment of entropy.
You would also not hobble a deific animal.
Yeah. There is a difference between the big cat that lives over there and Cthulhu.
I would much rather cripple Cthulhu.
You can't cripple Cthulhu, so all you'd be doing is pissing it off. Anywho, so there is not XP because XP is one of those things that I can't actually divorce how it's awarded from the mechanics of the game elsewhere. So you basically sorry?
XP is for closest only, is that what you're saying?
I guess you basically have to earn it in game. The major things being notable actions, and when you incur disadvantages and then overcome them also gives you XP. The basic system is you take a beat, and when you get to a certain number of beats, that converts into an experience point.
Beat, 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 beat. Yeah.
So that's probably going to be a little bit slow at first. I'm not really used to the system, so getting into awarding people beats is going to be a thing I'll have to shift into. And it also means that experience is not universal. It's not carried over between the whole party. It's very per character. I'll try and get on better with this, and I've looked into ways to divorce it, and it's just not easily doable without rebuilding a lot of different powers. It's one of those things where they say, oh, take the bits of the system that you like. But it's like, well, but I kind of can't. The XP and the social combat are the two things that I would remove if I could, but alas. Instead, but on the bright side, we did get John strength 10ing people like overripe grapefruits into the walls of that temple.
Well, blasphemers deserve to be punished.
I mean, it was technically moderately restrained, right? You'd boosted yourself up to strength 10. You could have brought the temple itself down had you chosen to.
Yeah, but I was in it.
That wouldn't really matter. Your stamina is also at 10.
Yeah, true, but I'm not the kind of person who's going to destroy the world while I'm still on it.
I mean,
just scaling it down
against the various walls of the world.
Yeah, you're.
I was just correcting the heresy, okay?
You could take a Barrett 50 cal to the head right now. I mean, you can actually do that regardless, but you could do it more easily right now.
like the idea it's like a hangover. Like, if you don't boost, you wake up tomorrow morning, you're like, God damn, my head is killing me. The amount of 50 cows I took last night. My God.
Which brings us on then to everyone's favourite part of the session. It's the highlights. Katya, do you have any highlights for that session?
God. Soph waking up and instantly asking to talk to the manager, that was fantastic. Jon sheepishly asking if there was one for her too when gear was being divvied out. Temple envy was pretty funny. I yield my time. That was someone else go, by the way. That was fair.
Yeah, sorry, that was me still typing things down. Ollie, do you have any highlights for that session?
Let's see. Damn, most of the ones I was going to choose have pretty much been chosen. Come back to me.
Okie dokie. Nikki, do you have any highlights for that session?
Yeah. Despite the fact that we're, however, thousands of years in the past, we're currently on early 2000s trip.
Early 2000s trip. 5,500 years in the past.
Yep.
We are technically on an early 2000s trip if we're in the early 2000s BCE.
You're not. You're in the mid 2000s. It's 2400 and something.
I mean,
That means NSYNC is back in.
God.
Yeah.
Damn it, Sophie.
But did we miss steps?
Did this mean
I'll come around in the next century.
Any other highlights, Nikki?
This mean that
I hate sand.
Thank you.
Reward him for that.
That was really good.
Any other highlights, Nikki?
Lanker's corner, yay! No, I'm good.
Fucking hate my friends.
No, you
Okay,
don't.
I hate me too.
I like to think if we haven't caused your blood pressure to go up a little bit every day, are we really friends?
You know, the thing that's mostly getting me through this is I bought myself a nice whiskey, like a really nice whiskey for the first time in ages, and it's genuinely delicious, and this is the thing that's keeping me from snapping and killing you.
This is my
I mean,
I haven't
you
made
could
you finish it
try.
already, have I?
Reaching through the internet and pulling your mustache off in one long bandage rip, Ollie.
Oh, God. It's all dirty to me.
John, do you have any highlights for that session?
Just getting to watermelon people into a wall.
You just
You
use
get a
watermelon as a verb.
Was it not appropriate?
It was appropriate. I understood what you meant. Just remarking
It's
on
a doing word.
Have you seen that video of what it looks like when a hippo eats the watermelon?
Yes.
it. Any other highlights?
It's
John?
wonderful. My other highlights have already been covered pretty much, actually.
I feel like I've got a few at this point. Sophaloaf, do you have any highlights for that session?
I very much enjoyed mine and the director's argument, and going for the big hat.
The going
The
for
most
the big hat,
important rule.
that was fucking sick. It's a solid strategy.
God damn it.
And Ewan can't stop that happening right now, because big hats are very popular in Egypt, as far as I'm aware.
They are, yes.
Yeah.
All the rage.
I'm going to wear the biggest hat. So good.
So big. My hat's going to be bigger.
I will. I'll fuck you up. Yeah, well, I'm going to burn all of my pillar points every session so I can wear a hat made out of solid marble.
They don't regenerate like that. Let's have a speedy look at your... Oh, actually, Ollie, you could still take... Katya, what's your thing?
magic
Blessed
thing?
Panoply.
Yeah.
If you take Blessed Panoply, Ollie, then you more or less automatically can out-hat game Sophie.
But you can't out-hat me.
Well, it's more like the two of you would be competing to out-hat each other.
Yeah, but I get the second hat for the hippo.
I mean, there's nothing stopping him making hats for animals as well. Your superpower extends to making hats, both of you, amongst other things. You can use it for, so many other things, but hats for animals are also possible. That said, yeah, you do also have striking looks and very high presence, so you're pretty well built for a hat competition, I guess.
Always fucking comes back to hats.
That's not my fault, Ollie. You cannot complain.
I know,
Sophie.
I know which cult I was a part of.
Just the introduction I thought was really lovely, so yeah.
Thank you. Anything else?
Nope, that's it.
Cool. Ollie, did you have any more highlights?
Nah, that was covered by everyone else, really.
Okay. So, my highlights are going to be I liked the pillar point spending on the first session. I liked everyone hulking out and punching rock walls, throwing pillars all over the place. It's really emphasized in the books that a lot of the techniques involved in being a cult are mostly how do we wake our mummy up without them going into a murderous kill rage and annihilating all of us at the building we live in and much of the block. So it was nice to see, I guess both people being restrained early on, and also the why are cults afraid, because you could very easily have a pissed off mummy who thinks it's under attack, whips out 2 pillar points, and now they're impervious to tank fire, but can toss tanks, and they're in the same room as you, and they don't remember who you are, and they think you're attacking them. That does not end well.
So you've got to be scared of that big pillar energy.
Yeah, big pillar. Well, I mean, not even big pillar energy, right? It's 2 pillar points to get that for a scene.
Yes. But I was busy whacking my hair against the table there. I don't know why. I agree, though.
Less if they're actually not a nerd.
I'll work out if it's an attack on me or an attack on my character's strength.
To an extent, do you need to have high strength if you have that in reserve? The ability to just go, mummy powers, activate, and then you bend steel?
No.
I didn't take much in strength.
Guys, I'm going to head off now. I'm going to head off now.
Yeah, I have people waiting for me downstairs as well. I should get running, but...
Sorry to cut you off.
No, that's fine. We'll cut it there then. In that case, thank you all for a lovely session number 1. Does anyone have any final words for the recording?
Watermeloning.